Hi everybody. Today I'm going to be replacing a CV boot on a 2002 Suzuki Vitara. We purchased this rig recently primarily as a snowplow rig, and when I was just doing some work on it I noticed that the CV boot is torn. So instead of taking everything apart here and putting on a new CV boot, I figured that would be too much work. I purchased something called a Dorman split CV boot kit. What it includes grease, a couple of adapters that go in the end of the boot. I'll show you what they do later. Some glue, clamps, and the boot itself. This is actually in two pieces. You can see the seam right down there. So what they first recommend that you do in the instructions is to test fit it. Put it together, take it apart a couple of times so you know how it works. Then before you actually put it on the vehicle, you actually glue half of it together. Now I've got this half over here glued, and you let it dry for an hour. So while that's gluing, I'll be taking the old CV boot off and using this grease to pack up the current joint in there. So in removing the boot, I'm actually going to use my Milwaukee flush cut tool. That has a metal blade on the end because there's two metal clamps. There's one there and one up here. That's going to be hard to cut. So I'm just going to use this here to cut the band. So in practically seconds I had the band cut here and over here. So now I just have to cut the boot and take it off. Now I need to pack the inside of the bearing, which is in here, with the grease. I'm actually going to put it on this wooden shim I have here and pack it in, and then I'll just rotate the wheel here, which is attached to the shaft. I don't know if you can see it turning there. Yes, you can. And then I'll just pack it all full with that, and then just wait for the remaining time for the boot to dry up. So here's the boot, or sorry, the CV joint in the knuckle, all greased up. I put the wheel forward in a straight position, and then filled it all up and rotated a little bit. Then I turned it to the left and then turned it to the right, rotating it in each position just to make sure all the grease was in amongst it. So now that the boot seam is dry, it's been over an hour, probably an hour and a half because I was doing something else. Now I've got to get the boot over the axle there, glue it, and stick it together and let it set for another hour. Okay, so I waited an hour while the other side dried on the boot, and then I pulled it on over the the end of the knuckle using those 4 tabs there which I've cut off. What I found was that the outer ring of the boot was a little too wide, so I had to trim it. You can see it's cut there. So I can slide the boot in further towards the knuckle, and then when I get that on, then I'll put the clamp. I think the clamp goes like in that groove right there. Now there's instructions on the clamp on the package on how to install the clamp, so I'll follow those, and then there's a little plug that goes in the end there. Yeah, let's see how it works out. I had to trim the boot a little bit more on this end right here so it would slide up on over the end of the knuckle. I'll put the clamp on as per the instructions, and in the end of the boot over here, I had to put in a little plug, so a little bit of solvent glue on that, and then what will happen is that this little plug here will go inside that hole, and then clamp it all up, and it should be pretty much done. And here's the installed Dorman split CV boot. In total it took probably 3 hours to install it. 2.5 hours of that was actual drawing time, and a couple of minutes of reading the instructions. So if you're going to install one of these, you might want to book off a morning and have a couple of other projects that you'll be working on during drawing time. That's about the only thing. Other than that, it was a pretty easy install. All the parts were there. Had to do some trimming, as you can see down below, of the end of the boot, but other than that, it's a good fit. So we'll see how this holds up. Hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.